Hello again, guys, and welcome back to the GPWS, where we have a new project. This is a Westclox Sphinx, and you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Greg, you already worked on a Sphinx, a Westclox Sphinx. Well, yes, we have, but we're going to work on another one because that series got so convoluted and all that fun stuff. We're just going to go over this clock again, be much more brief about it, and hopefully have more fun with it and not take a year to do the project. You'll see what I'm talking about in a moment. Anyway, yeah, I do recommend you do check out my other Westclox Sphinx series, though, because there was some stuff that happened in there which could happen to any other Sphinx you may run into, or any of these electric clocks from the early 50s, late 40s, early 50s. Yeah, there was a certain thing that happened to that Sphinx which hasn't happened to this one, so we're just going to go flying through this and not worry about it. But yeah, that series did have some, a valuable learning curve and all that fun stuff. I did learn a lot. This cord is original, but this plug is not. I think we're going to leave that on there. I don't really care that much about that. I think that's fine, personally. Yeah, this one does work, but it has a, it's just kind of gummed up. So we're going to take our back off here and see where we wind up. What I mean by gummed up is as the clock runs, the alarm actually resets itself a little bit. So that's not any good. Okay, so now this is the fun part of this where we have to... I wonder if I can get that strain reliever off there. It's got its original strain reliever on there, but the problem is it's wreaking total havoc on me here. Shoot. I wonder if I can... Okay. Well, when you get in here, you'll find that this is kind of tight. This is one of those situations where you have wires keeping things together and all that. So what we're going to do is this motor actually comes off. So we're going to take that off first. This bezel's held in with, I think those tabs are bent inwards, but it's also like a friction fit type deal on this tab right there that'll make our lives 1,000 times easier if we pull that out right now. That's holding our motor on. And yeah, we're going to get that off of there. And I can already see some of the new oil I added into this thing when I just gave this thing a quick once over. Oh yeah, there we go. This is going to make our lives easier. This can now lift out and be out of our way. And that, we're going to, this specifically, we're not going to do any rewiring here, but this motor will come apart later and we'll get just... wipe up the stator and clean the rotor. So, otherwise, no rewiring. It works fine. But yeah, this thing is quite dirty, so we're going to deal with that. And this case just comes out like that. And here's your clock movement with no motor. And yeah, this thing, I believe, was resetting itself after the alarm went off. This is the alarm setting mechanism right here. I'm not sure if it is or isn't. Well, I don't feel good about running it this way, so we're going to clean it up and get those pivots all nice and clean, and then hopefully this thing will actually be hopefully this thing will work. I say, because I mentioned earlier that the motor, or that the alarm is resetting itself, or something to that effect was going on. Now I'm not so sure, but either way, it's always good to clean these things up. These tabs are fairly tight on here. We're just gonna quickly unbend that. There we go. Gotta rebend those later. Oh, there we go. Okay, the last one we don't even have to deal with. So I mutter to myself, okay, non-luminous dial, so we don't have to worry about any radium paint hanging around like we did on the other one, because the other one was luminous. And this is held on with tabs. Okay. I think we're going to try and just do our old classic strategy of trying to pull the hands off, just turning the... Oh, it's not going to work. Nope. Okay. We'll have to get a piece of cardboard and a screwdriver, and you'll see what we're going to do. All right, so how to get the hands off this is we're going to take a piece of cardboard and just kind of get that over there as a dial protector. Take a screwdriver, just a nice flat blade, and just pop all the hands off. And since this is electric clock, I can actually be kind of less careful with that. on mechanical ones, you will have to be more cautious. Like, I am just going in here, la-da-da-da-da, nonchalantly, well, trying to, nonchalantly popping these off. Usually the mechanical versions of these will be harder to get off, but, or the mechanical hands off you know what I mean, a spring-driven clock. There we go. That'll probably be harder to remove, and I'm not even going to use cardboard this time. Oh, maybe I should. Yeah, the last thing I want to do is mess up that dial in any way. I know it's already kind of sun-bleached in one spot, but we're going to not worry about that and just leave it. Oh, dear. Did I just scratch the dial? No, I didn't, thankfully. Oh, that was close. Yeah, when your screwdriver slips, this is not the place you want to be doing that. Alright. Well, I may have to cut ahead, kind of following the same strategy, and this one should just pull off. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now, yeah, try to be gentle. Try to be as gentle as you can with that, because that's a bit of a, that can be a bit of a scary one if you scratch that dial. And in this case, they're all paper dials most of the time. You also don't want oil from your hands getting on the dial, and I'm not even talking about like your skin. I'm talking about actual oil that's come off the movement that is now on your hands that would go back onto the paper dial, where of course it's going to stain it. That's just a barrel of laughs there. Okay, is this going to come off or is it not going to come off? There we go. Okay. There we go. Yeah, so those tabs are, try not to bend tabs, but sometimes it's pretty hard not to, just because of the way this stuff is designed. Okay, now, we're going to get this off. This is our alarm setting wheel. This wheel does not come off. Don't you dare pry that off. That was the subject of the previous series' entire problem, was that wheel right there. And this thing defines your alarm tension. You know, that makes the, well, how should I word it? Oh my gosh. For people who actually understand how alarm clocks work and how the alarm mechanisms on these things are, that is very important. Do not remove that. You got to remove the knob on the other side. And this knob doesn't have to come off because this wheel, this gear here doesn't stick through the plate. Well, it does, but it's not, there's nothing holding it onto that plate on this side. So you can, you know, it'll just pull off with the bell here. Yes, when you're dismantling these things, you have to kind of think ahead and think, okay, what's going to obstruct me where, you know, and in this case, there's a wheel here, and there's this knob here on the end of this shaft. So you gotta, you know, this will block your way as you're trying to dismantle it, and that's not what you want. And I think you'd probably get away with leaving that knob on there, but we're not going to do that because that's going to just cause chaos later. Okay, I think we're ready to just go over the gear train quickly, and then we'll see if I can actually explain how the alarm works on this thing, but again, we'll see. So that fiber gear right in the middle on top, that black plastic one, is where the gear train starts. I believe there's a washer on either end of that, so we'll have to keep our eyes open for those washers when we take them apart. You know, the power goes over the next gear, gets bounced off that gear, bounced off that gear, bounced off that one. When I say bounced off, it's probably not the right term. It's the power is transferred down that little stack of gears over here where the time can be set. And as you can see, the time setting gear interacts with that one there. You can move that. There's the alarm power outage flag. When the power goes out, this flag drops down to red. And the motor keeps that on the white, which matches the dial color. This was a power outage feature that you, in case, like, if your power went out and you know, your electric clock's plugged in, well, the whole thing's going to stop. But the way that you know that the time is wrong is that flag would drop down and it would be, you know, switched over to red. Awesome feature. Really handy to have, handy to, you know, I try to get those flags to drop down even today. Even if there's a power outage today, that can still work if your clock's plugged in and, you know, suddenly the flag switches to red. Sometimes these things can be finicky, though. For some reason, some of them just don't want to drop down when the power is disconnected. And how those are held up is there's a magnet on this side of the motor, and once, you know, the electricity is disconnected, the motor stops, magnet goes away, and this thing drops down to red. But yeah, sometimes that doesn't work on some of them, so we'll see if we can get this to actually work. I haven't mastered my power outage flag skills, if that makes any sense. You'd think it'd be such a simple design, and it is, but sometimes they just do not want to work. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. You have your alarm hammer, which is a fairly unorthodox way of doing it, but it's a good way because it works. Yep, alarm hammer is driven off of the fiber gear, and I actually have to trip the alarm to make this work. There we go. So, okay, now it's driven off the fiber gear, but that switches depending on whether the alarm is set or if the alarm is tripped or not. And here is the alarm tripping mechanism here. Right now, the alarm is not tripped. We're going to pull our alarm on-off lever up, so it gives tension to the rest of this. Time goes by, time goes by, time goes by. 6 a.m. approaches, 6 a.m. comes. I think I did that backwards, actually. Whoops. Let's try that again. Wait, no, I didn't do that backwards. What am I talking about? Anyway, 6 a.m. comes, and the fiber gear is moving, which it's driving the clock, and then that little intermediate gear gets lifted up, and it starts driving this motor here, or this bell ringer here. And you can see when I turn this, the fiber gear turns. So, okay. Yeah, so let's remove the knob on the time setting. Wow, look at my hand. See, this is why you want to clean these clocks. Just dabbing oil on them. You know, I mean, this is how pivot wear occurs. Of course, on an electric clock like this, with no spring or no weights or anything, you're probably not going to wear out your pivots. But even still, if the thing's not working properly or making a bunch of noise, even after you've oiled it or whatever you've decided to do, it's always best to just take these things apart. That's the best way, but sometimes, you know, for some reason or another, you don't. Now, unfortunately, this method isn't working here. I've got a pillar in my way here. I thought I'd have this perfect. I've got this piece of aluminum with a hole drilled in it, and I can just kind of angle that around the bell. I can try and... what happened here? Okay, I guess I just pulled that out of... Okay. That's new. How was that held in? Oh, wait, I'm actually an idiot. Sorry, guys. I'm having a minor brain aneurysm. I pulled on the wrong knob and didn't realize why. Let's see if I can just fix what I've done here. That was a mistake. For some reason, I had the other... Oh, jeez. See, I had a splined shaft. Okay, that's why you don't pull on random stuff. Oh, I don't know what happened to my brain there. Yeah, you can ridicule me in the comments for that one. That's deserving. Okay, we are going to fix that later, whether we have to remove this or not, or whatever we have to do to get that to work again. I may have to hammer that back in, actually. Oh, yeah, that was stupid. Okay, did that actually go in? Probably not. I've done dumber things in my life, believe it or not. Okay, that did not go the way I planned it. I should have not. I totally did that completely wrong. Okay. Okay, thank goodness it went in. And just in case you're like me and pull on the wrong knob, you can see that, yeah, that was not supposed to come out. But we pushed it back in, so. And now, yeah, that won't pull out unless you're really pulling on it. Okay, sorry about that, viewers. We're actually going to do what I meant to do. We're not going to do this knob. We're trying to get this knob off. There we go. Now everything's lining up properly. Okay, now we can take a pry bar or a screwdriver or something and try and get this out of here. And hopefully not take the tension off of the gall darn shaft that that wheel that it's pressed onto on the other side there. I wonder if I can... Try not to be stupid about this like I've done. Let's see here if I can take a pair of cutting pliers and possibly angle this. See, the problem is if it doesn't want to come off, you can only pull it so much before you... Oh, nope, okay. Well, that came off. And did we ruin our alarm tension? No, we did not. Thank goodness for that. Okay. Sometimes you just need the right angle. But yeah, that knob comes off, and the other one does not. So don't try and remove it, or unless you absolutely have to for some reason. Now, because our alarm, again, this is just a pivot, and this is also just a pivot. Now we can take this bell off, and this bell acts as the top plate, so we can unscrew that and get to the gear train, and then we can take this apart and clean it. Isn't that wonderful? I can't believe that it actually worked with the knob there. I mean, like, I've had it work before, but the way that was pulling, you know, the way it was pulling up, it made me very uncomfortable. Yes, a nice piece of steel or aluminum, like stuff like this, will absolutely help you in the clock repair world. If you have to, well, I say clock repair world, especially the world of alarm clocks specifically, when you have to hammer stuff together and you need an anvil of some kind, but you have an anvil and it's got a piece of steel there, which will completely ruin whatever you're trying to hammer, whatever side, or, yeah. There are situations where you need having a stroke. I need a glass of water. There are situations where you need a softer metal. That's what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so we've removed 2 of the screws. Yeah, that knob, the way that was pulling up made me really uncomfortable. I did not like that. In the alarm clock repair world, or just the consumer grade, I guess I use that definition very lightly because there's a lot of different clocks you could call consumer grade. But in the pin pallet world, in the alarm clock world, in the electric clock world, a piece of aluminum can help you very much, especially in situations like that where you have to use a knob or pry a knob off, that type of thing. Yeah, thank you for that. Sometimes these things cannot be the most repairman friendly, and I really don't believe this was ever intended to be dismantled, but you know what, it is, and that's what we're gonna do. So this is what's happening, whether the guy who designed this likes it or not. He's probably not alive anymore also. Okay, washer on the front here, or that washer needs to come with and go back on there. Okay, so all of this needs to be cleaned up now. So we've got the bell, which acts as our top plate. And yeah, again, more kind of consumer grade level stuff here. You can tell a fiber gear. That we're going to probably clean. I don't know. It's kind of risky with fiber gears sometimes. A washer. This washer goes up against the bell and the fiber gear. We're going to take that off. That just pulls right out. Oh, and so does the power outage flag. We're not going to clean that, I don't think, because there's no real point, I don't think. Also, I'd be scared to get the paint off of that. Fiber gear, gone. Does anything else come off? Oh, this wheel does. This wheel here. There's a nice diagram of the gear train right there. This wheel here comes out. If it does. Hopefully it does. Usually it does. There we go. It's in between that, it's hooked in like that. There we go. We'll make sure to get that hooked back in there later. This whole assembly does not come apart. Don't try. You're wasting your time. I think, oh, does nothing else want to come off? This little bushing here is holding all this together. I don't want to leave all these wheels on the plate, though. This wheel here comes off. Yeah, there we go. That's stuck in there right now. I'm going to try and pry that bushing out of there, because that's not helping us at all. And plus, there's so much dirt and stuff hiding in there, you know? You don't want to just leave all this stuff together. Again, this is like cheap manufacturing that's causing us to, you know, go the extra mile and pry stuff off. Again, not really intended to be repaired. Oh, there we go. Okay. That bushing just came off. We'll make sure to keep track of that. Not like it's repairable, but it wasn't, you know, no one was really thinking ahead. So, as far as I know. Granted, they did sell parts manuals for these, including this clock specifically. So maybe I should shut up and stop saying things I don't know anything about. There we go. Okay, that's going to be cleaned. Yeah, a parts manual does exist for this model. Or, well, not this model, but this movement at least. More washers. There we go. This is more like it. Okay, and there's more washers there too. So there's a washer there and there. And now I feel more comfortable to actually dismantle this, because this can come out now. There we go. Yeah, so we're going to clean all of this, all these gears up and get everything nice and clean, and then hopefully this thing won't, well, you know, it'll be good for years to come after that. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to leave it like this. That's good enough. Yeah. What's the date code? February, so that's 256. So that's February of 1956. I wasn't even aware that they were making these in 56. I thought this was done by like 54. Huh, this is the latest version of this movement I have. Earlier versions of this movement, you'll see this wheel here looking like that. Earlier versions of this movement, I have one on hand, have a wheel that looks like that. It's basically the same wheel, except it's slightly different in design. And also this is the, yeah, this is the one from the Sphinx, I'm pretty sure. You can see how I've mashed it up. If you want to understand what happened with this wheel, watch my other Westclox Sphinx series. This is the dumbed down series, where it's actually straightforward, and where this mechanism is actually intact, so I don't have to screw around with it, because this is all preset. There's tension on that, so it doesn't move, and it's all well and good, and yeah, so anyway, I'm going to leave this together. And after some wacky editing later, yeah, we left that the way that was. We cleaned it, and we put it back together. The reassembly of this particular movement doesn't have too many frills. I didn't film it because it's, if you got it apart, you can get it back together, really. The only thing that I'd even advise any caution on is making sure you know what washer goes where, but also getting that alarm mechanism knob back on. Just taking a nice, you know, piece of aluminum, or not aluminum, sorry, a nice piece of steel, putting it up against that gear that's pressed on, and then just, you know, gently hammering the knob back on or pushing it back on, even with your hand. I think this one is on there with my hand. I don't even think I bothered with a hammer. And yeah, no, great little electric clock, bell alarm. In case I didn't show it earlier, or didn't show it enough, I can plug it in and do this again. Okay. So there's the alarm, oh my gosh, the power outage eye, there we go. Forgot about that, forgot the name there for a second. Okay, here we go, we're gonna turn the alarm on, and we're getting up at 2 a.m. Some people would love that, some people would hate that. I think that's fine, it's annoying, and that's the whole point, right? These are supposed to be annoying. That's the, you know, it's supposed to get you out of bed. I'm such a heavy sleeper, so I need something that is going to do what this does here. Anyway, yeah, I oiled this with Mobil OW-40 motor oil. That works good in electric clocks. You know what, you could use 3-in-1 oil as well. That would actually, 3-in-1 would probably be even better. Yeah, no, all the pivots, the motor, the stator itself, the stator and rotor assembly, that would love some 3-in-1 oil. Again, this doesn't seem to mind the Mobil oil, OW-40, so I'm going to leave that as is. But yeah, otherwise, that is the end of this particular series, or it's not a series, it's one video. This is the end of my revised Sphinx video, compared to my original one. It could have been this simple, but I had no idea what I was doing. Well, actually, yeah, and there were other complications, and yeah, it was just, it wasn't this simple. So this one is in nicer shape than the other one. And yeah, no, we're all set and good. Let's get this thing actually so you can see it. There it is. No, these are nice. If you can find one, pick one up. They are fun. Anyway, thank you guys for sitting through this entire experience, and I hope you all learned something. If you have any comments, just, you know, feel free to ask, and I'll try and get back to you, whether it be an actual response video or just a simple comment response on my end. So yeah, no, ask me questions, whatever you want. I'll hear it. This is where it's at. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you.